The first thing that hit him wasn't the size of the mansion, it was the photograph, hanging on a marble wall, framed in gold, was the face of the woman he had buried 3 years ago. His hands began to shake as he stepped closer, his breath catching in his throat. The smile in the photo was gentle, familiar, painfully alive. He had memorized that smile through years of struggle, late nights, and whispered promises. Why, he whispered to himself, his voice cracking, is my wife's photo in this place? That question would change his life forever. Amir Khan had never imagined he would stand inside a billionaire's mansion. Most days, his world was small: an overcrowded apartment, a leaking roof, and 2 children who depended on him for everything. Since his wife, Sanaa, had died, life had become a long series of sacrifices. He woke before dawn, worked double shifts as a delivery driver, and returned home exhausted, only to help with homework and cook whatever cheap meal he could afford. He never complained. Not because life was easy, but because his children were watching. Sanaa had always believed in dignity, even in poverty. "Promise me," she had said on her hospital bed, her voice barely audible, "no matter how hard it gets, you won't let bitterness raise our children." He had promised. 3 years later, that promise was the only thing holding him together. The letter arrived on a Tuesday. Amir almost threw it away, thinking it was another unpaid bill or legal notice. But the thick envelope, the elegant seal, and the words "formal invitation" stopped him. It was from the Malik Foundation, owned by one of the richest men in the country, billionaire entrepreneur Xavier Malik. The letter explained that Amir's daughter, Aisha, had been shortlisted for a full educational scholarship after her artwork won a national competition. The award ceremony would be held at Malik Mansion. Amir read the letter 3 times, unable to believe it. His daughter had drawn pictures on scrap paper, using broken crayons. He had always praised her talent, but he never imagined it would take them here. On the day of the event, Amir wore his only suit, creased, slightly faded, but clean. Aisha clutched his hand tightly as they passed through massive iron gates into a world that felt unreal. That was when he saw the photograph. The ceremony blurred into noise after that. Applause echoed, speeches were made, but Amir's mind was trapped in that single image. After the event, guests mingled freely. Amir hesitated, then gathered the courage he didn't know he had. He asked a passing staff member, his voice trembling, if he could speak to Mr. Malik privately. To his surprise, the request was granted. Moments later, Amir stood in a quiet study, surrounded by shelves of books and trophies. The door opened, and Xavier Malik walked in. He was tall, composed, dressed in a tailored suit, but there was a heaviness in his eyes, as if wealth had never managed to buy peace. "Yes?" the billionaire asked calmly. Amir swallowed hard. "Sir? I don't mean to disrespect you, but I saw a photograph in your hallway. A woman. That is my wife." The billionaire froze. The silence that followed was suffocating. "What is her name?" Xavier asked slowly. "Sanaa Khan," Amir replied, his voice breaking. "She passed away 3 years ago. We were married for 10 years. Xavier staggered back as if struck. He sat down heavily, his confident posture collapsing in an instant. "Sanaa is dead," he whispered. Tears filled the eyes of one of the most powerful men in the country. Xavier Malik had built empires, but in that moment, he looked like a broken man. "She was the love of my life," he said after a long pause. "And I lost her long before she died." Amir's heart pounded. "Sir, what are you saying?" Xavier stood and walked toward the photograph, his fingers gently touching the frame. "Sanaa was my younger sister." The words hit Amir like thunder. "She ran away from home 20 years ago," Xavier continued, his voice heavy with regret. "Our father was strict. He believed in control, not love. When Sanaa said she wanted to marry for love, he refused. I didn't stop him. I stayed silent. That silence destroyed everything." Amir remembered Sanaa's rare moments of sadness, the way she avoided talking about her past. She had once told him, sometimes, family wounds hurt more than hunger. She left, Xavier said, and we searched for her for years. Then my father died. I inherited everything, but not forgiveness. I found her photo recently through an old friend. I didn't know where she was. I didn't know she had a family. Amir's knees felt weak. She never stopped loving her brother, he said quietly. Even when she was dying, she asked me to forgive those who hurt us. Xavier broke down. The billionaire who controlled boardrooms and markets fell to his knees, sobbing like a child. That night, Xavier invited Amir and his children to stay. For the first time since Sanaa's death, Amir slept without fear of eviction or hunger. But wealth did not erase grief. Both men carried different versions of the same pain. Over the following weeks, Xavier learned about Amir's life, how he refused charity, how he worked until his hands bled, how he taught his children kindness even when the world showed none. You raised them well, Xavier said one evening. Sanaa would be proud. Then Xavier made an offer. I want to take responsibility, he said. Not as charity, but as family. I want your children to have every opportunity. Education, security, a future. Amir hesitated. Pride battled survival. Finally, he said, I don't want luxury. I just want dignity. Xavier smiled through tears. That's exactly what Sanaa would have said. Months passed. Amir received a stable job managing one of Malik Foundation's social programs. Aisha enrolled in a top art academy. Her younger brother began speech therapy that Amir could never afford before, but the biggest change was invisible. Healing. Xavier publicly spoke about his sister for the first time, launching a foundation in her name to support women who left abusive homes. Amir stood beside him, not as a poor man begging for help, but as a partner with purpose. One evening, they visited Sanaa's grave together. I spent my life chasing success, Xavier said softly, placing flowers. But I failed where it mattered most. Amir replied, she forgave you long ago. Now forgive yourself. The wind moved gently through the trees, as if carrying her answer. Years later, Amir would tell his children that life doesn't always reward goodness immediately, but it always remembers it. And Xavier and Malik would tell the world that the richest inheritance isn't money, but the courage to love, forgive, and make things right, because sometimes, the most unbelievable moment isn't finding your wife's photo in a billionaire's mansion, it's discovering that even the poorest man can be rich in values. And even the richest man can be poor in love, until compassion brings them both home.